Coming up, the Yankees' win streak is now at double digits, and the Astros shut out the Mariners. This is Locked On Now MLB.
The biggest games, the best performances, expert analysis. You are Locked On Now.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Now MLB, local experts weighing in on the biggest stories in baseball. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every single weekday. We've got our Locked On MLB hosts here. They're going to recap everything from Monday for you. New York Yankees have now won 10 games in a row after taking yesterday's biggest game in Toronto.
The biggest game.
Gleyber Torres drove in all 3 runs for the Yankees yesterday when they beat the Blue Jays. Locked On Yankees reviews the 10th straight win for New York.
Happy Gleyber Day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, the host of Locked On Yankees, and Gleyber Torres beat the Toronto Blue Jays 3-2 up in Rogers Center in Toronto. Okay, so the Yankees beat them 3-2, but he drove in all 3 runs, 2 on a home run and 1 on a very clutch, dare I say clutch, RBI single in the 9th inning to give the Yankees the lead that they kept thanks to Chad Green getting the save. Jordan Montgomery, 5 innings of work. The Yankees only scored 2 runs for him, but to be fair, they scored those 2 runs and then he gave up 2 runs right away. The only 2 runs he gave up, but still. It's just one of those things. I don't know. Poor Jordan Montgomery. But he didn't give up a walk, which is always good, and he struck out 5. So he's a good pitcher. He's gonna get a win at some point. It just didn't happen tonight. But the Yankees overall got a win, and that's the most important thing. So 10 wins in a row, best record in baseball. They get the first win in Toronto, which is always a good thing. And who are they facing next? Alek Manoah. Go look at his stats for this year. He's scary. So I'll have a full recap of this game, a preview of tomorrow night's game, and anything else that pops up on the next Locked On Yankees. So tune in.
Orioles pitching only allowed 2 runs to the Twins in Baltimore on Monday, but the offense couldn't push across enough runs to beat them. Locked On Orioles needs the bats to start producing something. They want to get some wins.
Well, it's another game, another Orioles loss in which the offense just did nothing as the O's fall 2-1 in game 1 of 4 against the Minnesota Twins. 1 run on 4 hits for the Orioles. Now, they did have 13 hard-hit balls on the night, but when they only fall in for 4 hits, it's not going to help you out. And Tyler Wells was good, 5 strong innings. Bullpen was solid, but the offense has got to do something. Really, the only highlight was we saw Elrod's corner get used for the first time. Rougned Odor goes out to the new wall, the new corner for a triple, ended up scoring the only Oriole run in the 5th. But the offense has got to be able to put something together, especially against the Twins pitching staff that definitely struggles at times. Hopefully they'll be able to do that on Tuesday, but wasn't the case on Monday night. And I'll recap it all on Tuesday's episode of the Locked On Orioles podcast.
The White Sox started the week with a win over the Angels thanks to Dylan Cease. His 11 strikeouts made it pretty easy for Chicago's offense. And Locked On White Sox recaps everything postgame.
The Chicago White Sox had their City Connect Southside jerseys on Monday and got an outstanding performance from White Sox starter Dylan Cease. He went 7 innings, gave up 0 runs, 0 walks. It was one of the best outings from a White Sox starter all season long. He had all of his pitches working, and he got just enough offense from the Sox as they beat the Angels 3-0 to split the series 2 games. The White Sox are now on a road trip. Their first stop is up north against the city rivals, Chicago Cubs. Things kick off Tuesday evening with Michael Kopech on the hill for the Chicago White Sox.
Coming up, the Astros are moving up in the AL West. This is Locked On Now MLB. Today's episode of Locked On Now is brought to you by Built Bar, the best tasting protein bars on the market. They're made with 100% real chocolate. They're high in protein, but low in fat, low in carbs, low in calories, and they taste delicious. They also have the new Built Bar Puffs that are made with protein-infused marshmallow. Definitely want to check those out, especially with the summer months coming around. They're a great snack. If you head over to Built.com, you can use our promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. Just make sure when you head over there, you use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your order at Built.com. Welcome back to Locked On Now MLB. I'm Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every single weekday. Now we check in with our other hosts around the league. Jake Odorizzi threw into the seventh without allowing a Mariners run in last night's best performance.
The best performance.
Hold up.
Another strong pitching performance led the Astros to a win, snapping a two-game losing skid and getting our Locked On Astros hosts ready for a run at the division lead.
Oh, yes. Thank you, sir. I'll take this. What is it? Oh, yes. ALCS 2021 championship ring right there. That's right. Read them and weep. You know who doesn't have one of these? The Yankees since 2009. And hey, the Astros won 3-0 tonight against the Mariners. That's right. Now they're tied for second. I know y'all say, well, the Angels are in first place. Well, go contraire, mon frere. Let me tell you something. The Angels better enjoy first place while they have it, because it's not going to be theirs much longer. The Houston Astros shoved tonight on the mound with Jake Odorizzi looking like an absolute Cy Young winner. Then they had Hector Neris come in the eighth, and Rafael Montero, he closed the game. What? He did what? Wow. And Ryan Presley's due up soon. Oh my goodness, the Astros are hitting their stride. Kyle Tucker is crushing the ball, and we got home runs from our rookie. Wow, bro, don't you wish you had one of these? You hate us because you ain't us. That's right, because we're Locked On Astros. We're your team every day. You've been warned, American League. The Astros are heating up, and we're coming for you.
After not scoring a single run, our Locked On Mariners host goes over how Seattle let Jake Odorizzi turn in his best performance of the year to date for Houston.
Entering tonight's game, Jake Odorizzi had given up 10 earned runs in 15 innings of work. I've even seen some Astro fans call for his head. But tonight, against the Mariners, he goes 6 2/3 innings of work, scoreless. Because of course he did. This is Tidy Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast. Mariners get shut out 3-0 by Odorizzi and the Astros down in Houston to start this 3-game series. And once again, the Mariners, as they've done way too many times to start this season, made a mediocre to bad, let's say bad, pitcher look good against them. Odorizzi just blew through this lineup for the most part. There were some hard hit balls here and there. There were a couple of runners in scoring position, but the Mariners were not in any sort of capacity to actually drive runs in tonight. You could see it pretty much from the get-go. This was a hopeless effort for the Mariners offense, just like it was against Dylan Bundy, just like it was against Vince Velasquez, and now against Jake Odorizzi. This trend just continues. And it doesn't really make any sense because, quite frankly, this lineup, this roster, even with the glaring flaws that it does have, is too damn talented for stuff like this to continue happening at the rate that it's happening to start this season. They got to figure it out here, especially because they're staring down the barrel of a probable sweep against the Astros. These pitching matchups are not favorable whatsoever for them. We're going to try to find some answers for how the Mariners can get back on track on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Mariners. Be sure to check us out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you then. Peace.
The Diamondbacks survived a late scare yesterday. They beat the Marlins in Miami. Locked On Diamondbacks gives you the numbers after the bullpen almost let the game slip away.
The D-backs snapped the Marlins' 7-game win streak by barely escaping Game 1 with a 5-4 win. Miller Thomas of Locked On Diamondbacks here. The story of this game was Zach Gallen versus Jazz Chisholm because the two were traded for each other a couple years ago. Zach Gallen had a fantastic start, 6.1 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, but the 2 earned runs was Zach Gallen's fault, but the bullpen were the ones that gave them up because when Noah Ramirez came into the game, Jazz Chisholm was at the plate and he hit a 2-run double. And then when Jesus Aguilar hit a little infield single to the left side, Jazz Chisholm went from second base to home and scored a run. An incredible feat of athleticism by him. The story of this game was those two players, but the D-backs were fortunate to come out on top with a victory. The D-backs bullpen was barely able to escape the 7th inning, and then Ian Kennedy was able to shut it down in the 9th. A great way to start off this series against the Miami Marlins, because the D-backs lost the first game of the series against the LA Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals. So great to see the D-backs start off this series with a Game 1 victory.
That's all for today on Locked On Now MLB. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you check out Locked On MLB and your team's Locked On podcast. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Now.